Good boys. So it is October 3rd, 2025, and I've been in Miami for 30 days now. I moved out here exactly a month ago, September 3rd, 2025. And I thought it'd be pretty cool if I can just sit down with y'all and just tell you how the past 30 days has been for me, because I really feel like I've lived 3 to 6 months already in Miami through everything that I've gone through. Like every single day, I feel like I level up as a person and I take on new obstacles. So I kind of just wrote down some things that I wanted to really talk about, and my experience in Miami really taught me. So I just want to dive into it. So I really feel like one of the biggest lessons that I took away from this month was the ability to discern people. When I came down here, I had somewhat of a soft landing, right? I'm in the same house that I moved into, which is not even a bad spot. And I knew one boy from when I moved down here that I knew before moving down to Miami, and then one other guy that I moved into with. And I'm gonna assume that you know where the story is going. I've had bad roommates before. This guy wasn't anything crazy, but it did get messy at the end. And it's often said that your biggest strength is also your biggest weakness. And my biggest strength is that I can trust people, I can rely on people, I can really build a good connection and brotherhood with people. But it often burns me when their morals, their habits, their energy aren't aligned with mine. Their vision isn't aligned with mine. And they aren't willing to put in whatever it fucking takes to really achieve the goal that they set for themselves. So I continue to tell myself that, maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way. Maybe I just needed to give it more time. And the guy that I moved down here with, his name is Saggy. I know him for the vlogs. And this is a brother I trust. I've known him for a little bit over 5 months, and I've been living with him for the past month. And from the other vlog, you see the other guy. But I put way too much trust into a relationship that I just started in as soon as I moved down here. I believe in self-reflection right now, and I apologize if I'm not very fluent with my words. I'm not really enunciating very correctly, but I'm processing in real time right here. So I'm trying to talk out my thoughts while they're coming to me. But relationships that I built down here in Miami, often when you see all the good of a person, it's just smoking screens. All of the good aspects of a person that you think that, holy shit, how was I'm so blessed to be able to have this person as a connection in my life. But you start to see the little incongruencies. And this is totally my fault, because I've had this happen before in my life, and I just didn't take the learning lesson. You get distracted by all the smoking screens, all the good things you see about a person, and then the small incongruencies that don't align with what you told yourself this person is. And ultimately, they're just, you see their true colors. When the emotions really, really spark, when you see a man down, right, you see their true colors. When their emotions really hit, you see their true colors. And the moment you see the true colors, you really see that person for who they are. And that was a mistake I made. I put all of my trust, I got distracted by the shiny objects, and I got burned because of it. I had to have some hard conversations with the guys that I'm down here with. I had to endure a lot of fucking stress in the past. It felt like every single day, but ultimately it worked out. Ultimately, I'm here right now. Again, it's only been a month, but I just want to tell y'all that, because whether you might have a relationship in your life that has kind of been dragging on a little bit too long. I know I've been in that position before, and I just didn't have the balls. I didn't have the enough courage and willpower it took to really cut that person off. It fucking tore me apart just being able to cut someone off in my life. I'm not cutthroat like that. I'm not gonna sit here behind a camera and just say I'm fucking cutthroat, bro. It sucks trying to cut someone off your life. It's just such an uncomfortable feeling. But you know, this is another thing about Miami, right? Is that this indicator of discomfort that you feel, it's actually a good indicator. It means that you're growing, because I think about this, right? If I just continue to do everything that I wanted to do in my life, for example, I never wanted to go to college. I never really wanted to move out to Miami. Of course, like I desired to, but I wasn't willing to put up with what I've been through this month. I wasn't willing to do that, but I do the things that I need to get done because I know that's how I grow. That's how I become a better man, because the discomfort that I face, that's a growing indicator. That's how I level up as a man. That's why I'm saying, like, every day in Miami, it feels like I'm leveling up because I'm pushing myself through discomfort every single day. And I kind of rewired my brain to take that indicator in my brain as discomfort into growth. That's all it is. And if you have to have hard conversations, bro, it's a test. It's God testing you, who you are and what you're willing to do. That's all it is. It's just God testing you, bro. And whether you pass that test or you fail that test, you're gonna see it again and again in your life. Everything is patterns. Everything in your life is patterns. It's gonna continue happening. That's why my ability to discern people is kind of weak. It's because I don't recognize the pattern instantly. And that's a trait that I really need to work on. That's a trait that God gave me a test, and ultimately I put myself through it. And it's something that I'm gonna carry on with my next experiences, my next walks of this life right here. But the next thing I want to talk about is problem solving and really being able to endure stress. I was talking with my boy Saggy. I don't think there's been a single day I've lived here and I've slept here in my room that I haven't woken up or gone throughout a day with immense amount of stress. Stress of whether or not I'm gonna live here next month, which it worked out. Stress whether or not I have a job that gives me income down here, which I do have a job, and I've made decent money this month, pretty good compared to what I made in Richmond the month before. Stress about having enough money for food, stressing about having debts to pay off. All these stressors in my life, and how you get through the stress, I really don't think that you can just make stress go away in your life, because although stress, like you don't want to be constantly under stress because it ultimately affects your mental health. You start to make the wrong moves over time because you're under pressure, you're under emotional state. You're not able to really make the calculated move, and that's part of the reason why I came down to Miami. But I came down to Miami. I'm gonna touch on this real quick because I came down here really quick, bro. I got the opportunity to move down here, and 2 weeks later, I moved down to Miami. Of course, switching entire states, entire cities, it's difficult, bro. And making a big jump like that in a short amount of time, I made some mistakes along the way. And I suffered the stress because of those mistakes. But because I moved down here so quick, like the moves that I started to make, they weren't as calculated, which means that I suffered consequences of trying to jump too rapidly. Not saying that I crashed and burned, but it gave me so much more stress in my life. And ultimately, it was just more tests for me to navigate through and problem solve through. I can't lie, like a couple of times this month, it crossed my mind. I think it'd be easier if I went back to VA. I think it'd be easier if I moved back home. I don't know if I can make it this next day, this next week. I think I have to move back. That crossed my mind a couple of times this month, and it probably will happen again, but it's all problem solving. It's all problem solving. Ultimately, every decision you've made up to this point in your life has brought you to this video right now, watching this video. Every decision I've made in my life has brought me up to talking to this camera in Miami, Florida right now. So I operate under the frame of mind that anything and everything in my life is my fault. For example, I went to the gym the other day, and it opens at 5 a.m. I got there 5:30 as expected because, it's a 30-minute drive from my house. And the person who was opening the gym wasn't there. I'm gonna assume they slept in, but everyone in the gym was just running or like circling around the parking lot, talking in groups, like kind of like frantic about what's gonna happen. Like, can I work out today? Like, they're pissed off. I could tell like there's negative energy in the air. And in that moment, either I could be like, bro, the gym wasn't open today. That fucked up my whole day. I didn't get a workout in. Like, I feel pissed off. It's not even my fault because the person who was literally opening up the gym wasn't there. So how is that my fault? But in real time, just decision making. I told myself, I'll give it until 6 a.m. If this person is not here by 6 a.m., I'm going to a different location. And sure enough, that person did not show up. So I went to a different location. I drove an hour away from my house just to hit the gym, but I still hit the gym. I told myself I was gonna go to the gym the day before and I still got it done, no matter what happened. That's problem solving in real time. If you really hold yourself to a non-negotiable in your day, such as the gym, such as your diet, such as the work that you told yourself you're gonna get done, you're gonna do it no matter what happens. And that's just a small example, but every day you make thousands and thousands of decisions every single day. And that brings you to where you are right now. The ability for you to make decisions is ultimately whether you end up in a good spot in your life towards your goals or in a bad spot, right? So I think that's why things in Miami move so quick, because that's another reason I came down here, is because they move so damn quick. So quick, bro. Me and my boy Saggy, we're planning on moving to a nice spots within the next couple of months, and there should be a fire vlog for that soon. But I'm telling you, things move quick, and I knew if I spent another year, another couple months in my hometown, I would have just felt complacent and stagnant. I would have felt comfortable of living in my parents' house. Even if I went into an apartment on my own, I would have felt comfortable being in my hometown because there's no room to grow. Why? Because I told you why. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. Every day in Miami, bro, I live uncomfortable. For a month straight in this bedroom right here where I slept every single night, I only slept with a blanket. I know that's not crazy, but like all my life I've been used to sleeping with a comforter, and like sleep is so important for me. I love my bed. It's so comfortable for me, right? But I was willing to put up, like, just a small example, right? I was willing to put up with that because I knew that I can't grow when I'm comfortable, right? And I'm not saying that I didn't want a comforter, right? My girl even bought one for me, so she felt bad. But just the example, like, I don't care about how comfortable I feel in the moment because I know I can't grow from that comfort, which is why I seek discomfort, because I know that is a signal of growth. That's all it is, bro. And your ability to problem solve through that discomfort that you face, that situation that you have, is whether or not you're gonna make it in your goals and your aspirations and your dreams and your desires. That is the missing link. That is the key piece towards you reaching your goals or not. Your ability to problem solve. And often you have feelings, right? You have feelings of how you feel in the moment, obviously. And then you have the principle of which you told yourself you're gonna do. You told yourself you wanna lose 20 pounds this year. You told yourself you wanna put 20 pounds of muscle on. So the decisions that you make every single day, regardless of how you feel, I told you about this, right? I said that if you constantly act on how you feel, how you want to feel, how you wanna do things, you're not gonna get anywhere in life, because that's gonna mean that you will be comfortable. If you do the things that you don't wanna do, you're gonna put yourself in a position where if you wanna lose 20 pounds, right? Instead of eating what you feel like eating, which is Chick-fil-A or which is like McDonald's or Cane's. I would love Cane's right now, but that feeling that I had right there, the feeling of I would love Cane's right now, that is the feeling that I have, where it contradicts the principle that I have set in stone of me losing weight. If I continue to give into my feeling in the present moment, I won't ever reach my goal of losing that 20 pounds, right? So it's constantly just weighing out the feeling versus the action. That's all it is to it. And if I constantly acted based off how I felt every single day, I would probably move back to my hometown, bro. I probably would, honestly. And that brings me to the last thing I want to talk about, which is let everything work out. Everything's gonna work out. I told myself that I don't care what it takes. I told myself when I had those thoughts of moving back to my hometown, I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I have to put myself through. I want to leave Miami. I want to build a name for myself here. I want to build a life for myself here because honestly, that feeling of home, I miss it. I'm homesick, right? I asked myself a couple times this month, like, would I ever feel like I can build a life for me right here? To the point, like, you know, when you go on vacation, you go somewhere else, right? You have attachment to your hometown only because you have memories there, only because you live there, you have experiences there. You see, Virginia means a lot to me. Richmond means a lot to me, but if you're not from the city or the state, none of those things matter at all to you. And same thing applies for your state. If you live in fucking Wisconsin, I don't have any attachment to Wisconsin. I could care less about that. But because I have attachment to Virginia, like, I want that same attachment towards Miami because I want to build a life for myself here. I want to become my best possible version of myself in Miami. And that's what I want to create. That's what I want to leave this place with and come back to VA. Not live there and move back, but at least, like, the dream is to bounce between the two cities and be able to spend some time, hopefully in the winter, in Miami because it's really nice. And, you know, still have a life in VA as well. So I told myself that no matter what it takes, I want to build a life for me right here. If I had to sleep in my car a couple of days, if I had to work a job at Target, bro, I'd do that. I would do it, bro. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how many reps I have to put in. I'm going to get what I want, which I came out here for, is being the best possible version of myself and building a fucking life for me right here. But last thing I want to say is that overall, just have faith. Have faith in God. Put God first. I believe that God is perfect. God is the creator of all things. God is, you know, he's a part of all of us. And if I continue to put him first, if I continue to act with divine intention, it's gonna work out, bro. Every obstacle that I faced in my life was just a test towards where I'm at right now. And I am the reasoning why I'm at where I'm at right now. Of course, I want to be in a different position. I want to have more money, more cars, I want to live in a nice spot. But ultimately, that's why I'm here right now. And the difference between me right here and that version that I just described to y'all, me putting God first is how I'd get there. I believe just by putting God first, everything will work out. Everything will work out. That's why I said I had secondhand thoughts of going back to Virginia this month. But what would that make me? If I went back to Virginia without getting what I set here to get, I think that just makes me a failure. That's how I see it in my mind. That's how I see it in my mind. I don't think any indifferently from that. So no matter what happens, no matter what I have to put myself through, I believe that this is my desired situation, my desired state in Miami, and ultimately the launching pad towards where I want to get to. So I'm going to continue putting my head down every single day, working with relentless intention, putting God first, problem solving along as I go, and enduring the stress instead of thinking it'll go away. And using the lessons that I took from this past month to discern future relationships and build a strong network out here in Miami. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you about today. And I apologize if this video came off a little bit. The energy was like a little bit going back and forth just because I'm trying to process this right now, because again, it feels like I'm flying in time in Miami, so it's hard for me to process everything that happens. And me sitting down, that's why I love recording these videos, because me sitting down, just talking to the camera authentically, gives me a chance to really reflect on where I've come from and where I'm going to. So thank you for allowing me to do this. Thank you for watching this and seeing the documentation in real time. But other than that, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you later. Peace.